as presented.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the minutes for the Montezuma County Board of Commissioners for April 7th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I guess we'll go right into our emergency management update with Jim Spratlin. Jim, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, commissioners.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. So it's business as usual, if you call it usual, for the COVID response. We're pretty much, I think we all began really looking into this issue March 12th, so we're pretty close to 33 days into this. The current situation in the last 7 days, we've highlighted some areas. We're securing some needed supplies. Today, we just received 500 face shields for free from Ford Motor Company. So I'm kind of excited that we're starting to get some things. We're building a system to identify a special needs population. We're adding to our emergency operations center support system. We're working with businesses to assist them in recovery. We're working with the donations and the distribution of the products, compiling data into some type of usable formats now, and we're building a collection system for information that we can be used on any disaster thanks to IT. We're going to have a system that hopefully we never use it again, but if we have another issue where we're having to fill out forms and documents, we'll be able to do that online. It'll document it a lot quicker. We're finishing up some of the plans for alternate care sites for the tier 3 and 4, which, as always, the state is now going to approve them and not the feds, so we have to go through a different process. And then we've developed another incident support plan. I think you got a copy of that. I sent it out for the next 7 days for our group to follow. It's good for 4/14 to 4/20. I think you have a copy of this detailed situation assessment, so I'll just go over it brief. If you have any questions or anything you want to bring up, just feel free. Just get with me anytime. Transportation, I was talking to Jennifer. Pretty much, I mean, we only had 3 ready for Monday, but we're running anywhere from 5 to 8 per day. And we're helping with Meals on Wheels, of course, certain days and times. It looks like all the roads are at normal operations. CDOT's normal operations. Pipelines that we have, CO2, they're normal operations. Aviation is at normal operations. The school districts, they're keeping busy delivering a lot of meals to the students. Just one example, I have numerous school districts delivering meals. Make a school district, I think we're up to 6,200 meals to not only to their students in their district, but to some other needy adults and to some other districts. So pretty proud of what's going on there. Communications, normal operations, 911 dispatch center, responders, communications. Our public information system is working well, so no disruption there. Public Works and Engineering, all water companies and districts, normal operations, no interruptions in service. County Road Maintenance Services, not affected. Landfill, normal operations. Let's see, firefighting, fully staffed, running at normal operations. They are responding to extra illness calls, so they're keeping an eye on their staff and making sure that they're checked continually. They have developed, along with the Sheriff's Office and the Police Department, they developed a decontamination plan for all the first responders. So we've got a trailer out there, thanks to the Sheriff, so we got a lot going on there. Emergency management side of this, I and the Public Health Director, Bobby, we're working together. We're still having our virtual meetings on Mondays at 4 p.m. and Fridays at 10 p.m. And we've just decided to have one on Wednesdays at 10 o'clock. It's more of a discussion meeting, not just a situational update. So we're going to have at least 3 meetings a week. Our group is pretty much 4 policy group, which you gentlemen are involved in. We have 10 of the emergency operations staff running the system, and then we have 57 emergency support function people under us. So it's a very healthy and very well-oiled mechanism. I'm very excited about it. We've got a good team going here in the county, so I'm very proud of our county. Let's see, I'm keeping abreast of all the BOCC information and Homeland Security and working with CDPHE, of course. We've added, as we mentioned before, we had the National Guard. They're assisting me in the planning function. And we just added a lady that's doing it virtually right now. Her name is Christine Itabashi. And she is well-versed in emergency operations and planning. And what she's going to be doing is planning ahead, looking ahead in the future, a month, 2 months from now. So in case any of us have forgot something or we misplaced something, she's going to keep track of the future for us. So that way we don't lose track of where we're headed in long term. So she's from Team Rubicon, so excited to have her. Mass care, emergency assistance, housing, human services. We got a lot going on. The homeless shelter, I just heard, is a correction on your report, but she's housing about 14 people now at the bridge, and she's planning on staying there till the end of the month. We're also looking at that site as a Tier 3 site once we get some type of approval on how to do this. We do have a list of hotels for our Tier 4s. We're working on that. And then we just found out from the state there's a good possibility that Fort Lewis College will become a Tier 3 site for an alternate care site. So we'll have another way to move some people out if it does morph into something bigger than what we have now. Logistics and management, we're really working at trying to get adequate supplies. I'm hopeful that some of the other contacts that we have, we will get some more supplies, and hopefully they'll be free. We're working on that, but a lot of businesses and citizens are donating a lot of supplies for our first responders. So again, our community has really jumped in there. It's really helping us. Public health, the hospital continues with their drive-through testing, and so we're doing well with that. The rapid testing equipment has been ordered. It should arrive sometime, I'm hoping this week, so that we can start working on the rapid testing. The EMS over there, fully staffed, normal operations. The healthcare facilities are at normal operations. And then Access Health, again, normal operations. The latest report from the state, it looks like and that was from yesterday, so that could be 24 hours old now, but about 7,600 cases for the state have been tested positive, 1,400, almost 1,500 are hospitalized. That's out of 56 counties. 38,700 people have been tested and 308 deaths. We have 72 outbreaks at residential and non-hospital healthcare facilities. The safety concerns that we are looking at, of course, is what's surrounding our county. La Plata County has 44 positive, Archuleta County has 6. San Juan County, New Mexico has 173 with 7 deaths. San Miguel County has 12. Apache, Arizona has 72 with 3 deaths. San Juan County, Utah has 11. Southern Ute Tribe has 2, and then the Navajo Nation has been hit pretty hard. They're getting close to 800 with a little over 24 deaths right now. As you are aware, Montezuma County, we have 12 tested positive and 2 deaths in that 12, and we're continuing contact tracing, so that keeps going. The animal shelter's doing well. They're at low capacity, so we shouldn't have any problems with animals.
I have to click to talk.
And the energy The power grid is up and running, normal operations. Fuels, normal operations. Propane's normal. Empire Electric, normal operations, no interruptions of services. Public safety and security, normal operations at the sheriff's office. They're still working at reducing their inmate population, but they're virus-free right now. They are trying to slow down transportation and extraditions, of course. And they've seen an increase on welfare checks. So that's spending a little more time checking on people. And then, of course, the unattended deaths can be more dangerous to the responders. So we are getting them the shields today. I'm excited about that. And get a little more PPE for them. They are assisting the schools in delivering supplies and meals. Cortez PD, Mancos Marshall, CSP, all normal operations. Looks like we have 2 personnel that are in self-quarantine right now. So hopefully they come out just fine. And we are noticing in public safety and security, we're getting an increase, of course, in domestic violence calls in the county. So that long-term, that could be an issue. The long-term recovery for the community, Shaq wants to bring anything up on that. We've been listening to the business district, the Montezuma Business Task Force. I think some of you have been on that. But the recovery, the planning department's working with other county personnel, still providing information, over 700, 800 businesses right now. And they have a new page on the county website for information to disseminate that info and to document. They have files on there for review. Our joint information system, we still have 15 public information officers, and they're doing a virtual joint information center every Tuesday. Very busy. They're keeping up with the questions and concerns, of course, the public has. And they're posting daily, if not hourly, on numerous mediums. So we're glad to have them on board. Let's see, the National Guard, of course, we talked about them. They're a part of the team now. Hopefully I can keep them until the end of the month, and then we'll see if we can get replacements or if we got caught up by then. Mesa Verde's still closed as of March 25th. So they're still closed. They got about 15 people up there. And then the business industry that I've seen and checked and talked to a few again this week, there's a lot of odds and ends on high demand, which is, disinfectant and toilet paper and paper towels, but there's still, shelves still have some of those items, even at afternoon. So they're catching up. They've hired some extra people. So the big boxes and some of the grocery stores, they're up and running pretty good. I don't have an official cost yet. We're going to start working and calculating that. We may have an official hard cost, let you know what that might be pretty soon. We're working on some of those stats. And then high impact media coverage, of course, is important. We're trying to get that information out. These are some of the critical things. Resource availability is critical. We're trying to work with the state. I put in another order last week. So we've got 4 orders in with the state. We're encouraged to keep ordering from the state. When they get some items, we'll start getting some more items. And then, of course, just for critical requirements, we did have 2 deaths in the county. So we're just keeping track on that and making sure we're up and running. So that's about it. Gentlemen, any questions?
Any questions, commissioners?
No, I think Jim's on top of things, and he's tracking the important items that need to be tracked, and I think he's riding bronc on it. So keep up the good work, Jim.
Thank you, sir. I don't know if I'm bareback or sap bronc, but I'm working on it.
Commissioner, do you have anything to add?
I don't have anything to add. I've read it all. I think we're moving forward and trying to be as cautious as possible, and thank you guys for your work.
Jim, I do got a couple questions for you. I don't know if you need any more help, but Gunnison County took the approach of what they did was, since the federal employees for the Forest Service and the BLM are furloughed, they are using those guys as a resource. If you need any resources, that might be an avenue to take.
Okay. And I know them pretty well in the area, so I could talk to the FMO and see if they have any other resources that they're willing to give up. That'd be a good idea. And I have been working with Commissioner Cooper, and I'm keeping in contact with her for supplies as well once we get approval on different things from the health department. So we're working closely together. So thanks for that last resource. That's good.
All right. Well, thank you. On behalf of the commissioners, we appreciate the update, Jim. Good work.
Thank you, guys.
Let's go to the 911 recording bids and recommendations. Lori Johnson, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me okay, commissioners?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I think it was in January you allowed me to go ahead and send out for bids on a new recording system. And we had estimated that it was going to cost around $100,000. And I had bids that range from $25,000 to $142,000.
Here, you want upgrading?
I sent all of those bids to Shaq. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at them or not. The one that is $25,097 is a company out of Houston, Texas. I did sit through a demo with them and believe that they are adequate for our needs. And they provide redacting. They'll record our anti-alley links, which will help when we're trying to figure out where a phone call came from. They provide the quality assurance tool that I can review dispatch calls, and it allows them to go back and see how they scored on certain calls. It does a CAD recording, so as the dispatchers are taking a call, it will record the CAD system so I can see exactly what they were doing when they entered, as they're entering a call. And it also does reporting as far as number of times people talk on the radio, number of incoming or outgoing phone calls. And it, just as a base, it comes with 20 positions. And so we have 4 positions in dispatch. It would allow me to let some of the fire chiefs onto that system if they wanted to review calls, as well as the sheriff and the police chief.
Well, go ahead, Commissioner, I'm sorry.
Well, so is your recommendation that $25,000 bid?
Yeah, I think for the money, we're gonna get what we need out of it. If you go to the next higher bid would be a company out of Durango, Digicom. But the total price on it is $47,528, and then you have to pay extra for the quality assurance and extra for the recording of the anti-alley and the CAD recording. So, I mean, by the time you add all of those extras in to be equal to this system, you would be looking at probably close to $60,000 for the next level in the bid.
No, Laura, this is Commissioner Tell, and I'm just in awe of this company and their maintenance, their 5-year maintenance. They're they're just so off the chart from any of the other bidders that you have listed here. They're either very hungry for business or they've got this down to a science where they know exactly what they need to do and what they can provide and what they can't. And I hope it's the latter because they cover all your bases, and yet there's so much so far away expense wise. There's so much less. It's just incredible. So
I did ask them that question. I said, well, why are you so much cheaper than everybody else? And the comment I got, it's just their goal to provide to the smaller agencies a good recording system that we can use without breaking the bank.
Lori, Commissioner Lori here. Have you checked with anybody else? Who else uses RevCord? Because my concerns are the same as Commissioner Ertel's. You have one that's very, very high and one that's very, very low. Typically, those are concerning on either end.
Correct.
But have you done all of the research you need to do and are very...
I feel like I did. I've contacted 3 of the user agencies, one of them being the New Mexico State Police. And I talked to them, and nobody had any complaints about it. They said their dispatchers and staff really liked the system. It's very user-friendly, and they had, nobody that I talked to had, there was one complaint in, they said, because we asked for a 4-hour response time if something went wrong, and they did say sometimes that response time is not as quick as we would like to see. But having said that, they also said, but they've only had in 10 years, or how, it might not have been 10, but they only had a need for them twice in all the years that they had used them.
Okay. Does this then tie us to a 5-year contract with the 5-year maintenance?
And that's up to us. So in the bid itself, they have it broken down to, so the first year is essentially a warranty year, and then we can either pay for the 5-year maintenance up front, which is a little cheaper than purchasing it later, or pay it year by year. That's up to us. To pay it up front, we get a 20% discount.
Okay.
Lori, I think you come upon something here that I can easily get behind, and I think pay for the maintenance up front and get the discount, and we're still tens of thousands of dollars away from anybody that's even close to them. So this is a no-brainer to me.
So do we just need to approve this for you, Lori, and then move forward with it? Is that all you need now?
I believe so. Shaq, is there anything specific beyond that as far as awarding a bid?
No, the commissioners just need to vote to approve the bid, and then you move forward with the purchasing.
Okay.
Well, this Commissioner Tell, I would like to move that through the E911 funds and the dispatch recorder bids, that we approve the bid from RevCord in the amount of $20,800, along with the 5-year maintenance plan for $4,297 for a total bid package of $25,097.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the RevCord bid for the communications for dispatch for $25,097. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for doing your due diligence, Lori. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Lori.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, guys.
Fire ban ordinance request from the sheriff. You there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
That's
Okay. good. I think we're wearing this phone out here because of all these web meetings, let me tell you. I sent the ordinance of 2014, which was the updated fire ban, and then there's a resolution that you actually enact to have the fire ban put into effect. I have talked to every one of the fire chiefs. They're on board with all of this, mainly because of the anticipation and what they're seeing as far as medical calls increased. Our weather's not helping, but we've already had 5, I think, out of controlled burns in the past couple of weeks. So this will actually free up this, hopefully, that being called out when we actually need them on medical calls. The other thing is that when we have no fire ban, people are supposed to call into dispatch to find out, number one, whether or not there's a red flag warning, and number two, the location and when they're going to burn. We do not get that information in law enforcement, the sheriff's office, nor the fire departments. And so until we see smoke, and then we call in and ask, and then go check. But this is also a good thing that with the fire ban, they can obtain a burn permit on a certain day and time. All they have to do is contact me. I contact the fire chief in that district. There's an on-site viewing, and so long as the fire chiefs are okay with that, then the permit is issued. One thing about this is that at least now the fire chiefs will know in their districts where controlled burns are scheduled to happen, and they have a say in that, and that has really helped in the past quite a bit. So I would ask that under the conditions that we're at right now, that that I ask you if you could put in a fire ban for Montezuma County. I don't know how long this will last, but a lot of it will depend on what's going on with this pandemic and our weather and our conditions out there with vegetation. And then we can discuss all of that, and hopefully we can end this by midsummer. That's my hope. Hopefully the weather will help us. But right now I think this would be the right thing, and that's why I'm asking for it. I would also ask that if you do approve this fire ban to put in effect, that we set a date and a time, maybe 19th or 20th, that would give us time to get out public information to everybody in the community and in the county about this, so that it's not done today or tomorrow, and then all of a sudden we're scrambling trying to get information out to folks. And we can set things up on websites, PSAs, everything.
So your recommendation, Steve, is to start it on the 20th next Monday?
I would, and let's pick a time, maybe 6 o'clock in the morning. That would be more than enough notice for everybody, and that way they know that when it goes into effect, we have the message boards out there as well in strategic places. But I'll tell you what, if we can advertise this enough that it's coming, people really do appreciate that and know, and they have an access of getting a burn permit, so long as everything is copacetic with the fire chiefs and whatnot.
So,
Sure, I'd like to play the devil's advocate.
Okay.
I would just like to play the devil's advocate. I reached out to some individual firefighters, and they said that, well, first of all, a lot of the out of control burns were actually called by neighbors that were actually fires that were in control. Would that be right? Or is there actually 5 that were out of control?
That got away from this. That did burn into other property, yes.
Okay. And then, but one of the devil's advocate points is if we are if we're controlling them now, where we can control them, it might stop a bigger fire later in the summer. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, there you go, the devil's advocate. You're right. Yeah, there's a lot of down dead vegetation and whatnot within the county, but we've always had it every year. And that's where these burn permits can actually help. I'm certainly not against issuing a burn permit to folks to burn in a controlled manner with the fire districts on board with that. And a lot of times they do help them, but it's in a controlled manner, and I think that would definitely help everybody, and they could still burn at certain days and times and locations, so long as the fire chiefs are okay with that.
All right. That's all I had.
So the way I understand this, Steve, is that, because I don't have this ordinance on my computer, I'm just looking at it on my small screen right now. I can't find it, but the fire chiefs within their districts could still issue a burn permit if the conditions are okay and the people can still carry on with what they need to do. It's just the areas that are going to be more hazardous to a large open fire. Is that correct?
Yes, and the burn permits are issued by the sheriff and not the fire chiefs, but I don't do anything without conferring with them. Always have. The thing is, though, is that I think it's 2017 or 2018, there is a copy that I can send to Shaq that can forward to you what you did back then about putting in the fire ban, and it lists those things in there. And we already have a permit available. We send those out or give those out to people that request them, and it's a pretty simple process. It really is, and it's worked well in the past.
And this would be just a temporary, kind of what you're saying right now. This is just 30, 60 days is kind of what you're anticipating right now.
That's what I'm anticipating, but you never know.
Right.
And I don't want to keep it on there if we don't need it, and I'll tell you that, like I've done in the past.
This Commissioner Patel, I think it's important to let the public know that even though the fire ban may be in existence, that there are avenues for them to get permits given the right conditions and they have all of their ducks in a row, that they can still do a burn, but it's going to require involving the sheriff and the fire district in which they reside. So I think it's very important to let people know that they still can burn, but it has to be done in an orderly fashion.
Exactly, Commissioner Tell, and that's why the PSAs and all the announcements and that we can get out there information about that, and giving us some time to make sure that it does get out there and everybody is informed, really goes a long way.
Yep, I agree.
With that, they would have the avenue to pursue it and still burn it and carry on with the proper authority. So I'm fine with that also.
Anybody entertain a motion?
Yep.
Can I ask first what are you guys about to adopt a new resolution? Because I haven't seen a resolution. What are we asking for a motion for?
Well, I think, John, that I think we need to go back to the 2018 one instead of this 2014. That's so far back. But don't we now, instead of lifting, aren't we always in a fire ban mode? And the county's done this kind of in a backward way, right, that we now impose the fire ban instead of lifting. We are now imposing or something, isn't it?
Is that all we're doing? Because I can have to you guys in, the one we did last year, or I guess we didn't do one last year. We did one 2 years ago, and yeah. I think we've done one pretty much every year that you all have been commissioners, except for maybe last year. And for Commissioner Candelaria, just to bring you up to speed, because this is probably your first time, our ordinance basically says that there is always a fire ban in effect.
Exactly.
And then what we do often is, let's say August it starts raining, September it starts raining, we suspend the fire ban. And then when there's dry conditions again in the spring or summer, then the commissioners reimpose it. It's a real short ordinance. I can get you the same one we did last time. But if you want it to have a date in the future, either we're going to wait to do it, or I can throw a line in there that says this fire ban takes effect on, or the lifting of the suspension of the fire ban goes into effect on Monday, and throw that line in there. And then, I can either get it to you in a little bit later in the meeting, or depending on what you guys want to do, but I can get it to you pretty quickly.
I would be comfortable with that, Commissioner Tell and Sukla. I haven't seen what you did in 18, and just looking at this 2014 ordinance, I understand what the sheriff is asking. But I think if you can do that quickly, John, I'd sure be like to look at it, because like I said,
Yes,
I haven't seen this ordinance at all.
So all it does,
Yeah,
Jim?
I think we should table this until John gets us the a current resolution for us to lift the fire ban or impose the fire ban. So.
Yep, that's all it does, is it reimposes the fire ban, and I will, I'll get it to you right now.
Okay.
So,
Steve, so looks like you're gonna get your wish. We're just gonna have to approve it a little later in the meeting. Is that okay?
Well, that's fine. And like I said, I think if we do this in steps like this, it'll make it a lot easier for me. So once I know that this is going to happen, then we'll prepare all these public service announcements and get things ready to get them posted. And then when that is signed by you folks, then we'll go ahead and put them out there.
And commissioners, what do you want the date Monday? Is that correct?
Yes, I think that's what the sheriff's requesting for this coming Monday for it to go into effect.
Okay.
Starting at 6 a.m.
Right.
And I'm also good with that, John.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Sheriff. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, John.
We'll go to our county assessor, Leslie Bug, on a state abatement adjustment. Hi, Leslie.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
That's it.
Okay. So I received a memo, and I included it in the packet that was sent to you guys, that the state, when they prepared the state assessed valuations for Montezuma County, they included property that was transferred to Tri-State from Empire Electric, still in Empire Electric's valuation. So we're basically double taxing for the property. So they found the error, sent me the memo saying we needed to correct it. And the effects of the correction for the county is a decrease in tax revenue of $123,446. County General's effects are right at $30,000 is what we're going to lose from this abatement.
Leslie, this is Commissioner Attell. Could you explain? I don't like the looks of this. For one thing, explain how this property involves Kinder Morgan as well as property going from Empire Electric to Tri-State. To me, this looks like a shell game.
So Empire Electric has quite a few accounts that they combine their values with Empire Electric. There's about 10 or 15 of them. So I'm not sure how all the reporting is done because they don't report through me, they report directly to the state. But the Empire Electric and Kinder Morgan have joint accounts on quite a few accounts, mostly out north of town. So Empire Electric, I would assume, sold property to Tri-State General last year. And Kinder Morgan did not report it on their stuff, but the state left it on their valuations for this last year. And Tri-State also included that property in their paperwork to the state. So basically, they doubled up on the value. The state did. So when I got the numbers sent to me, that was included twice. And I don't know if you guys read the memo from the state, but it's pretty vague as to what really happened. Kesley from Empire Electric did send a letter in that kind of explained it a little bit better. I attached that also. But she did check with Tri-State to make sure that they did report the property. So we are getting the money for it, but we can't double tax for it.
Any additional questions, commissioners?
I'm kind of like Commissioner Tell after reading through all of this. I'm still not real clear other than the abatement, and we're giving them back $123,446, Leslie?
Yes, to Empire Electric. And it is only on the Kinder Morgan Empire Electric combined accounts. Empire Electric has their own accounts that they'll still be paying their normal valuation for.
And then County General after that was taking the $30,000 hit, is
Correct.
what you're saying in this math here.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Leslie, did Empire or Tri-State, what properties, what assets did Empire Electric sell to Tri-State? What was
It's just
the
electrical
transaction?
transmission. It's not actual properties. It's just their electric.
Is this a way for Empire Electric to avoid paying taxes?
No.
The
No, Kinder Morgan transferred the properties to Tri-State General, the electrical lines, if that's an easier way to think about it. So they transferred the electric lines to Tri-State, and Tri-State included that evaluation on their report to the state. It's just an error that the state did. They just left it on Empire Electric, Kinder Morgan, and Tri-State.
so it got charged twice.
Correct, yes. We're double taxing Empire Electric right now.
Okay, I'm seeing what it is now. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know about
No,
this
it's okay.
transfer of assets from Empire and Kinder Morgan transferring assets to Tri-State. So as long as it's being taxed, did it change the rate of taxation by that transfer at all, Leslie? Was there
No, still
less-
29%. No, still 29%.
Still 29%. Okay, all right. We just can't double up on them. That's too bad.
No, we can't. And unfortunately, it wasn't caught in between the state's protest period and their final valuation, so it could have been fixed before it went out, but it wasn't caught until just in March.
Okay, all right.
Do you have any recommendations on how to go about this then?
Do I have any recommendations?
No, John, is there?
Oh.
We just approve the stated abatement, or is it just information? Does the commissioners need to do anything?
It has to be approved, and I need to have a signature from the chair, so I can send the documentation to the state also.
All right.
All you need though, Leslie, is a motion. You need two of the commissioners to agree with you.
Yes, since it's over a $10,000 abatement, the commissioners have to agree that it needs to happen, and then as far as my paperwork, I just need a signature so I can send it on to the state because the state also has to approve it.
What are you getting the commissioners to sign though? I don't see.
It's the petition for abatement. It's the second page that's filled out.
I got it, John. Yeah, it's the second page right under her handwritten,
Okay.
The chairman of the board has to sign it saying that they approve the abatement.
Okay. Do you see
It's
where
the
that is,
same, it's
Commissioner
the
Sid?
same with any abatement over 10,000. They just have to approve it, that they acknowledge that it's happening.
Okay.
So it looks like we just need a motion and a second, and we're well on our way.
Yep. And then you sign that line. It's like second box down, Larry down.
Sure.
And then Kim will sign it and put her stamp on it also. And then I'll
Okay.
get copies for the minutes.
Okay, I would like to make a motion that Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners approve the abatement request in the amount of $123,446.06 to Empire Electric Association Incorporated.
second.
Motion and a second to approve a state abatement adjustment for Empire Electric for Montezuma County in the amount of $123,446.06. All those in favor?
Aye.
I was in there.
Okay, all right, thank you. I didn't hear you, Jim.
That's okay.
All right, thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome, thank you.
Okay, I believe on our agenda, folks, we're going to skip the weather update, and we're going to go to the economic recovery team and planning update with Don Haley and Jan Duncan. Is that correct? Shaq?
That's correct. So the economic recovery team can start now.
And do we have the economic recovery team in place as we speak? Are they here?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Good morning, Mr. Haley.
Yep, sorry about that. So what we've got going on is the IT department last week, they put a link on our home webpage. It's under the COVID virus. You click on that link and then it goes to the next page. And on the top right, underneath the virus picture, we've got the Business Economic Resources tab. And if the public will click on that, there's currently, I believe, 4 folders: small business, self-employed, agricultural, and I remember the other one right now. But we're taking all the information that we're receiving as far as webinars, the PPP, EIDL applications, information, how to understand those. We're uploading all that into these folders, and then we will send out that link to all the businesses that we have collected email addresses on. Currently, we're probably at about 400 out of the 700. Some of those businesses aren't operating any longer, but we're continuing to update our list, get accurate email addresses. We will email that link to the businesses so that they can not only see what's on there the first time, but they can continue to go back to that web page, and we'll continue to upload new information as we receive it.
All right, thank you, Don. Do you have anything to add, Jane? Shaq, do you have anything to add?
Does anybody on the economic recovery team want to jump in?
No, I don't. It sounds good. We are moving forward and hopefully we will get everything uploaded on the website.
And then as far as a planning update, underneath the COVID virus link, we now have added, IT has added the link to our new planning permitting software so that the public can click on that and it will take them to the homepage of the software where they will create a username, a password, and then they can log in and start the application process. And those links are also attached to Road and Bridge for driveways. Goes back to that same page for assessing, for septic permits, so that anybody that gets on any of those pages can access the new software homepage and start the process to do everything remotely.
Any questions, Shaq, or the commissioners?
I have none at this time.
All right. Well, thank you guys for the update and the good work on collecting the information for the businesses. We appreciate it.
Well, I have one comment for Don to maybe and Jane to investigate with their task force. I saw in the news this morning that WWE has now been determined to be an essential business. And I feel like if they have determined that the WWE is an essential business, and I think it's in Florida to remain open, I think we need to start taking a look at some of our poor businesses around here that have been closed, and certainly see if we can't find them a category that they can become an essential business. Because if WWE is considered an essential business, my Lord, there's a bunch of them out there that should be an essential business along with that. I think it's ridiculous.
I have not heard that.
I saw it on the
Yeah, I
news.
hadn't heard that either.
Yeah, it was on the news this morning. WWE is an essential business, and I'm going to tell you what. If they can consider that an essential business and allow them to operate in the state of Florida, I think the rest of this is bunk.
Every other business we have would go in front of that.
You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. Every business out
Most definitely.
in front of that. So check that
Most
out
definitely.
and send that to the governor and see what he says.
Yeah, we're real tight.
All right, well, we better leave it at that and go to the natural resource update, James Dietrich. Thank you, Don, and thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Mr. Dietrich, are you online? Jack, master of controlling.
James, if you could unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We can't,
All right,
James.
just a couple fingers, guys, sorry.
All right.
Okay. The first thing I wanted to go over is got this from the U.S. Forest Service. This is the Cabin Ferris Agreement for 2020. And as you recall, we've been working with Dolores County to keep those two campgrounds open. And so what they're asking us to do is re-up the challenge cost share agreement with the Forest Service, and this is exactly what we had last year. And essentially, it kind of outlines the duties the counties will be responsible for. And mainly that really kind of comes down to kind of, like grading it once a year, doing a little bit of weed control, things like that. So, again, this is just what we did with them last year, and this is the agreement with only the Forest Service.
Gotcha.
So
Okay, questions?
No, I think we fell in agreement with Dolores County on their extreme desire to keep those two campgrounds open, since they're in Montezuma County, but they really affect Dolores County and the things that happen down there on the lower Dolores River. So I think we should continue to help our friends in Dolores County and maintain this agreement to keep that relationship going and keep these campgrounds open. So I would move that the non-funded. Oh, yes, sir, sorry.
Jim Dietrich, it looks like to me on the second page of this, it has principal contacts, and we need a principal contact in there, which is either you or our chairperson. It has Julie Keibel in there, and then it has some Forest Service contacts, but we need to be in there.
Okay, we'll make that request, and I can bring this back. We've got plenty of time to do it.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, good catch.
Following along, and I see that here. Okay,
Yeah, thank you, John.
I'll just ask the Forest Service to add us in. That shouldn't be any problem.
Okay. Well, if there's no hurry, I guess we'll have to finish business next week on it. Sorry, Jim.
Yeah, that's fine.
Can we just handwrite us in there? I mean, we could just handwrite us in there unless people don't like handwriting on these contracts.
That's certainly an option. I certainly wouldn't have any objection to that. I think that gets this agreement in place, and if they feel like they need some kind of a typed up agreement, well, we can work on that, and it wouldn't hold us up that way.
Jim,
If you look at page 8, Larry Don Sukla as the chairman is on there.
right. So if you want to write up there on page 2, Montezuma County principal contact, and then put somebody's name, either Larry Don's or yours, Mr. Dietrich, as far as phone number, email, that type of thing, just so if there's any communications regarding this, they're going to go to that person.
Okay, we can sure handle that, John. I think we can get that in and not even affect the signature page, so we should be okay with that.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, let's go ahead and move forward then.
Yeah, let's go ahead and approve this, and then with the addition of the contact of James Dietrich as our contact person. So I think that's simple enough. So I would like to move that, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Go ahead, James.
No, it just said that it sounds like that should work fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to move that the non-funded challenge cost share agreement between Dolores and Montezuma County and the United States Forest Service for the year 2020 be approved with the addition of James Dietrich as contact person for Montezuma County.
Second.
Shaq, can you scroll down to the first page so I can read what Commissioner Tell just did? Well, thank you. There's been a motion and a second to approve the non-funded challenge cost share agreement between the counties of Dolores and Montezuma and the USDA Forest Service San Juan National Forest for the year of 2020. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anything else, James, on your report?
Okay, yes. I did want to let the commissioners know that the BLM has published a proposed rule regarding e-bikes. There's an opportunity to comment on that. That comment period ends June 9th. Generally, the rule allows e-bikes on roads and trails where traditional non-motorized bicycles allowed. And then it allows it through subsequent land use planning and implementation level decisions accompanied by NEPA on like new projects and stuff. So essentially, it should allow the bikes wherever they are currently allowed. It shouldn't interfere with that. I haven't been able to read completely through the whole thing, but I'll try to finish that up by next week. And when we visit with Connie Clemenston, we might want to bring this up and get a little better understanding of where how she feels like it's going to affect trails in our areas. I feel like so far, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we are pretty supportive of e-bikes just about everywhere. So, that's the premise that I've been coming from, and just want to kind of confirm that with the commissioners.
I would be on board with that statement, James.
Okay.
And so would I, James. I think the e-bikes, I think we've told Connie that in the past, that if it's open, then just because it's an e-bike doesn't disregard it in any manner. So I think we are open with everything.
Okay. I will start preparing comments that kind of move in that direction then, and then I'll fully review this thing by next week too.
All right. What else do you have, James?
Okay, I just want to give you an update on the Paz de Mesa Verde. We finally got the multimodal options fund letter confirmation.
Wow.
We indeed have that fund to look forward to. We're moving the aerial imagery forward through the county project that's already in play, and we'll save a little bit of money that way. We're reviewing all the LiDAR requirements to make sure that what we're going to collect as a county is really going to meet our construction requirements. There's still some questions bouncing around going on with that. But LiDAR is not going to happen until a little bit later, so I think we've got time to figure that out. So, still moving forward on Paz de Mesa Verde.
All right, thank you.
I think that concludes everything I've got, unless you got some more questions.
Okay, I needed to.
Commissioners, any other questions?
I have none at this time.
All right.
Thank you, James, for your update. Appreciate it. County operations, GIS mapping, Doug Roth and Rachel Medea.
Commissioners, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, the census operations have been hampered a little bit due to this current situation. Although we are fortunate that is an online census and people are able to respond directly online. What did occur in relation to our census outreach activities in early March is we got a lot of booths set up. We got a lot of brochure stands set up in all the schools, libraries, recreation centers and city halls. Unfortunately, at this time, all those areas are shut down, so people aren't visiting them, and there's not much we can do about that. On a positive note, we did get 500 bags with census brochures handed out at the Dolores Food Market, another 500 at the P&D, and it was really interesting as we had some volunteers and Rachel and I handing out about 2,000 grocery bags and census brochures at City Market on Friday and Saturday, March 13th and 14th, which were, they said, some of the busiest shopping days they have ever had as people were starting to stock up. So timing wise, that was interesting. We got that out there, and that did really help. You can see when the numbers, and Shaq will show you some of the maps, that really did help out some of our early response. And I don't know if you're able to bring up those maps, Shaq. I can talk about some of the challenges as we move forward and what we're going to be looking at doing there.
I'm trying to bring them up now. It's being a little slow.
But really, things have leveled off a little bit. Some of the challenges we have right now is that the Census Bureau themselves have slowed down operation, and that they're not going, they've delayed going door to door, which hampers operations in some areas. For instance, in areas where residential units do not have mail delivery. Town of Dolores itself is one of those areas. They don't have workers going and putting packets on doors. So you'll see on the Dolores census tract, the response rate is a good amount lower than the rest of the county. So we're going to have to just get creative with how we continue outreach. There's still ways to go, even though Census Day itself was about 2 weeks ago. We'll continue. And one of the then results you may have heard is that I think they're going to delay sending some of their final census counts out next year by a few months, which will delay a little bit us doing our redistricting within the county by a few months as well, but we can certainly handle that. And one thing I want to reiterate, to anybody who might be listening as well, is that there's kind of a misnomer that you have to wait for a response code to receive a response code to respond to the census online. You do not. You simply need your address to do that. And so people don't need to wait for any sort of piece of paper in the mail to go on and click on that website and get to where we need to be. So the national rate here is, Shaq has up, is 48.1. Colorado is, I believe, 12th. They're doing pretty well at 52%. And this is self-response rate so far. The next slide, Shaq. Montezuma County is at 42.4 out of the 52 Colorado wide. And I typed in there in little numbers. We're doing pretty well for Southwest Colorado. We're a little above Florida, quite a bit above Archuleta. And I'm not sure why Dolores County is sitting at 13%, but we're going to reach out to them and see if we can help out. They're an important part of our community, obviously. And then the next slide shows Montezuma County in general, and this is current as of this morning. What we have is really good response rate, which is typical. Your more urbanized areas have higher early response, and we're sitting at about 55% in and around the Cortez area, mid-40s surrounding areas. You said Mancos area is 38, and Dolores census tract is at 31. And of course, we do have the Ute Mountain Ute tribal areas, still less than 10% self-response rate. And they have their own outreach efforts down there. So really, what we're going to look at doing, we do have we bought some radio advertising time on KSGD and KRTZ. We're going to try and reach out with some school lessons that can be done, as a lot of kids are doing schooling online these days. And we also have the message going out on electronic signs throughout town. I believe it's up there. So we're just going to revamp and continue our efforts as things are delayed, but we still need to reach people.
All right, thank you, Doug. Any questions, Commissioner Shack, for Doug or Rachel?
Not for me.
I just want to congratulate Rachel on her election to the Cortez City Council, and I think that's a noble endeavor, and look forward to working with you, Rachel, as a city council member.
Thank you, guys. And if you have any advice, I'd take it. I'm looking forward to working with you.
The only advice I can give you, Rachel, stay out of politics.
I too, Rachel, congratulate you and look forward to working with you. And you know, this is new for all of us. This is uncharted waters, and you know, we're working together and creating a good alliance between us. I think is a positive and something that we can get done, and look forward to working with you together.
Yeah, I think it'll take all of us to heal the community working together, so.
Yes, I agree. I agree with the other two commissioners as well. Thank you, Rachel.
Rachel, while they're congratulating you, I'd like to offer you my condolences for everything that you're going to have to step into with COVID-19 and everything else right out of the gate. Good luck, kid.
All right, let's go to, is there anything else from, anything more from GIS or mapping, Doug or Rachel?
Well, I would just say, tagging on what James said, we do have our aerial imagery flight should be happening. Literally could happen any day now. Hopefully it happens in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, good.
And we did extend that area, like James was talking about, east all the way to Mesa Verde.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. All right, thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
IT, Mr. Jim McLean.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Jim.
Good morning. So my update.
Good morning.
All I can say is the last few weeks in IT has been extremely challenging.
I bet.
And that's an understatement. Between trying to get all the virtual stuff set up so you guys could have a nice, at least as seamless as possible type of meeting, it's been challenging to come up with the resources, but we got it done. So on the county level, we have everybody that wanted to work from home or is supposed to work from home is working from home. It took a couple weeks to get that all put together. I will say I was surprised at the number of people that did not have internet or had such slow internet speeds that they couldn't even function. We had 10 employees that had no internet at all, which I found surprising in 2020.
Wow.
So reaching out to all my contacts, we got them all set up, and I rushed it along, and you know, between Visionary Broadband and Farmers and some others, we were able to get them some internet within a couple of days' time. So that's and you know, at this stage, most of it's been spent getting the website updated, keeping on top of that, making all the changes accordingly, working with the National Guard and with our emergency manager, and things have calmed down a little bit now. We're kind of getting back into more normalcy for us. So, you know, what can I say? It's just been interesting, and everybody's been really easy to deal with, considering.
Well, that's good. You've been doing a good job. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I can tell you that the IT department's going to close for 2 weeks when this is over.
Hey, what are you going to do? Go on a cruise?
Well, they cancel all those, so I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to close for 2 weeks.
Well, James, you and your department are to be commended. You've been put under a tremendous amount of pressure and a tremendous workload everything function in this new reality that we have here. And I want to commend you and your staff for tackling it and doing a very commendable job with it. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you for the kind words, and that's our job. Our job is to help everybody out, so it's just doing our job.
And also Commissioner Candelaria here, Jim, thank you. I know that all of, my iPads, these Zoom meetings, everything has been working great. And just, thank you, and thank you, your staff. Thank you to your staff.
I will let them know.
All right, thank you, Jim. Let's go to vehicle maintenance with Shane Higman.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yeah.
So there's not a lot in my world. We're just trying to keep everything running. A lot of stuff coming in from the sheriff's department. Oil changes, lights, nothing real major. Nothing's really slowed down with the road department stuff. So getting all the weed department stuff up and going was what we did this last month. We're really not purchasing anything because we're waiting on all of our vehicles we did purchase to come in. So we're just kind of waiting at this point and maintaining everything we have, and not a lot new here except for just keeping everything running.
Right. Any questions, commissioners, for Mr. Higman?
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just want to thank you right now, Shane, for holding off. I mean, obviously we've approved vehicles to be purchased up to this point in time, but I think it would be in our best interest, for at least postponing any other expenditures for at least 60 to 90 days just to see how this whole thing pans out. Just to be on the conservative side of things.
Yeah, I think we got all of our real problems taken care of earlier. Got everything ordered that we have to get. And as we go on throughout the year, we'll figure out if we're going to have the money to buy more or if those funds are going to need it for something else.
All right. Thank you, Shane. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great. Buildings and grounds maintenance. It's my understanding that Mike Schnard could not get connected. So Shaq Powers, you're going to do the honors for Mike. Is that correct?
That's correct. Mike was texting me. He's having trouble getting on. So the only real update he has is that Comiskey is going to begin construction or the demolition part of the senior services early next week. And so that senior kitchen remodel will be getting underway. And since there's no congregant meals at this time, it seems to be actually a pretty good fit.
Yeah, great.
Good.
Glad to hear that.
All right, well, let's go on to the county attorney report. Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to add on the buildings maintenance. Mike and I were talking earlier, and I don't know that he's aware of it, but we did complete the remodel at the Pleasant View shop, the new fire department purchase. So, yeah, doors are in, air compressors in, air lines, fuel tanks, everything's 100% out there now. So that was good news. We will probably have to modify the west doors a little bit. We pulled some snow plows in this winter, and we've got like a ½ inch to spare on each side. So we've got to do something there, or we won't be having doors there very long. So also here at the main shop where Shane's operations are at, we did add one more door on the east side of the building and another lift in there. So we now have 2 light vehicle lifts in the shop to help take care of that workload. So thanks to Mike and his efforts and some bids we got there, and we got that all done. So.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you, Rob.
Welcome. See you.
Thank you.
See you, Bob.
Mr. Baxter.
So just to start off with, I sent you all the fire ban. If you look at the most recent email, that's the one that has the PDF on it that we should use. It just has a small correction on it. And I think that if you'll review it and approve it, basically you can vote on it, and rather than have you each sign it, individually, which you can do if you'd like. Our clerk, Ms. Purcell, suggested, and I agree with this, that you all just make your motion, vote on it. She can write, just maybe print your names on your signature lines, and notarize it rather than either circulating it or signing it in parts. So if you guys are okay with not personally signing it, I think we should just have Ms. Purcell notarize it, and then she can get it to Jim McLean to post on our website.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I'm good with that.
And
So we need a motion. We need a motion for this resolution number 7.
Yes.
Okay. I would move that resolution number 7, 20-2020, a resolution reimposing the fire ban for Montezuma County, be approved.
second.
Motion and a second to approve the resolution number 7-2020, a resolution reimposing the fire ban for Montezuma County. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. What else do you have, John?
So in addition to that, COVID-19 stuff, I'm surprised at how busy the county is. I sometimes think that maybe I should log all my phone calls, but certainly all the all the departments are busy and do not seem like they are slowing down to me. So there's we did for Jim Spratlin, the emergency management, we did a non-congregate shelter contract that we haven't entered into with anybody, but it's essentially proposing to use these local hotels for non-congregate shelter for what they call Tier 4 sheltering. So that was prepared last week, and they're just sitting on that, waiting to see whether or not they're going to get funding from FEMA to do that or not, because we still have to pay for it if we do use the hotels, and hopefully a lot of that would be covered by the United States of America. So there's been a lot of new laws and directives regarding employment, business operations. Of course, I've been in contact with the health department about several things, several issues. All of our civil cases are still ongoing. Child welfare is still moving forward. That's it. Nothing, I think, real specific that I should report on. But if you guys have any questions, I'll certainly answer them.
John, I have a question. Are the courts operating? Is our 22nd Judicial District municipal and county courts, are they operating? Are they doing all their stuff virtually, or are they at a standstill?
Almost everything virtually. And the jury trials have been suspended, and there was a new directive from the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court late last week that I think we had suspended them. I can't remember what the date was until May 15th, but now from the state, the directive is that even on criminal trials that require juries within a certain time period, judges can find that there's a health emergency and continue everything for 90 days. So we're definitely now not going to have any jury trials. We weren't having them anyway, but now there's a directive from the Supreme Court that says that. Most things are virtual. Not 100%, I don't think. And so, but videos from the court, most attorneys are either calling in or videoing in. I do think there's going to continue to be some in-person appearances that are required, but they're limiting it. So when you ask if they're still operating, probably the best response is no, but technically yes, the courts are still operating.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks, John.
Anything else? Thank you, John. All right, next we have the county administrator's report. So everybody get their pillow.
Yeah, bear with us now.
All right, good morning, everybody. Let me start with, as soon as I can pull it up here, The Department of Local Affairs, DOLA, has suggested that since audits for local taxing agencies have not been extended, that local taxing entities file for an extension request for the audits. All our paperwork is good to go, but DOLA is recommending that people file for an extension with the COVID-19 situation just because they don't know whether it's going to take longer this year and what rules are going to hamper auditors from going into where or whatever. I'm comfortable if you guys want to sign this. If you want to try and get it done on time, I'm fine with that too. It doesn't matter to me, but DOLA is recommending that local agencies file for the extension just in case.
I'm a little bit contrary with that. I think if our books are in order and we've got our information before us for last year, I would like to see us go ahead and run our audit as we normally would. I just don't see. I think you start extending these things down 60 and 90 days, and there's going to become such a backlog at the end of that time frame. I think if we're financially prepared for our audit, I think we should try and go ahead and run it as per our own schedule.
And I'm fine with that.
And I would agree with that too, Shaq. Are we ready to go? Is there any reason at all that we would request this extension of time?
Not unless the governor does something else that I'm not expecting.
But at that point in time, this could be brought back in front of us then. So I would agree with Commissioner Tell. If we're ready to go, let's don't get caught in this logjam that's going to happen down the road and whoever knows what time. But if we're ready, our books are in order. Let's stay on track. Let's stay focused and keep marching forward.
I'm in agreement as well. What else do you have, Chad?
Okay, the next thing I have, and I'm going to try and bring it up here. Give me just a second so I can share the screen with you because I have it in a Word document. Sorry.
Whoa, that was scary.
I know, pretty scary, huh? Let me bring this over here and I'll be able to.
Shaq, is that a beard underneath there?
Sometimes. I figured since nobody's here, I'd grow it out a little bit. Okay, can you all see that now?
Mine says screen sharing.
That's what mine says.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, so last week I had talked about recommending to our local businesses through the business task force and through our economic recovery team that they begin an appeal process to start seeing some businesses reopen while being cognizant of everything that's involved in social distancing and trying to slow the spread of COVID-19. I have this in draft form because I wanted the commissioner's input before I put it on the website and begin soliciting businesses with this. But right now I'd like to ask the commissioners to consider adopting this policy to start jump-starting our local economy. And I'll read it just in case you can't see it. But it says, "Dear business owner, at this time Governor Polis has said that the state's stay-at-home order will end after April 26, 2020. It is unlikely that on April 27th life will suddenly go back to normal for everybody. It is uncertain at this time if there will be another extension to the stay-at-home order or if there will be a phased approach to turning the economy and gatherings back on. While these things are uncertain, one thing that is certain is that the First Amendment to the Constitution guarantees citizens the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. That means that the Constitution allows business owners the right to appeal the decision to have their business remain closed if future orders prohibit the reopening of certain businesses. Because COVID-19 is a public health issue, the lead agency responding to the crisis in Colorado is the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, CDPHE. Within CDPHE, there are several subdivisions. COVID-19 response is handled by the Disease Control and Environmental Epidemiology Division. Many organizations appeal to CDPHE for exemptions on a regular basis when they can demonstrate the ability to comply with the intent of a law or regulation while needing an exemption from the letter of the law. The purpose of this letter is to give suggestions for making appeals successful. Some best practices when appealing are: keep the appeal fact-based, demonstrate knowledge of the state's practices knowledge of the state's guidance as well as the reasoning the state gives for the guidance, and show the appealing business can operate within and comply with the spirit of the orders given by the governor. A business appealing to be able to operate under the social distancing limitations of the current COVID-19 response should first demonstrate an understanding of the situation. Businesses should reference facts such as the dates that the World Health Organization declared the worldwide outbreak of COVID-19 on January 31st, 2020, and when it was declared a global pandemic, and I gave the date which the president declared a national emergency, as well as the governor of Colorado declaring an emergency in the county of Montezuma. Demonstrating a knowledge of the facts will show the business owner understands the situation CDPHE is dealing with and takes it seriously, and therefore can be taken seriously. A business owner can then go on to demonstrate ways in which their business can operate while complying with the guidance given by the state. This is the part where a business owner must get creative. For example, could the owner of a gym move all or some of their equipment to the parking lot now that the weather is beginning to warm up? Could the equipment be spaced in a way that keeps appropriate social distancing? Can this be demonstrated by showing how much further the breath of a person engaged in vigorous activity travels? Can patrons be required to wear masks? Can buckets with sanitizer and rags be at each station? Can there be an attendant present to ensure that stations are completely sanitized between patrons using the equipment? In what way can business owners demonstrate that they can operate their business and yet maintain compliance with whatever guidelines are given by CDPHE and the CDC? Montezuma County encourages business owners to carefully contemplate the best practices that their business can use to promote the principles of social distancing and good hygiene. By practicing recommendations such as maintaining 6 feet between patrons and clients and providing sanitation for the same, future shutdowns may be prevented. The county encourages everyone towards rebuilding a healthy community and economy. If a business owner can demonstrate their ability to comply with upcoming social distancing limitations, even though their class of business may be closed or limited by a blanket order, the county would encourage them to make an appeal in writing to CDPHE, and then I give the address. The Disease Control and Environmental Epidemiology Division can also be reached at, and I gave the phone number. The county cannot guarantee that appeals will be successful. CDPHE may respond by requesting information, making further suggestions, or requesting clarification. The county supports all businesses trying to recover during this time.
It's a good letter, Shaq. Any comments, commissioners?
Well, yes, I think if they have determined that WWE is an essential business operating in the state of Florida, every business in Montezuma County should apply and say that they need the same consideration as the WWE, and let them, if they can comply with the safe distances and social distances. I can't see making these businesses go bankrupt when they're considering WWE an essential business. I'll tell you, that just makes I don't know what that does to me. It's
anything-
insanity.
Oh, yeah, Commissioner Candelaria?
So Shaq, you're wanting to send this out to the BTF and have this go out to the businesses as part of their recovery, just as a guideline of what they should start doing for their, using their own, common sense and moving that forward with CDPHE? Is that all you're asking?
That's all I'm asking is to be able to post this on our website and send it out and encourage, because like I said, I don't foresee everything just going back to normal on April 27th. And if a business can demonstrate that they can keep social distancing and be open, I think we should encourage them to try and be open.
I have one question also too. Has our public health department seen this letter also?
I received input from Dr. Aiken, and I did send it. Karen and Bobby were copied on the letter.
Okay.
Any other questions?
What were the responses, Shaq?
The only response I got was from Dr. Aiken, and that he wanted to make sure that the businesses understood that we needed to keep practicing social distancing and hygiene in order to prevent future shutdowns, and so that is included in the letter.
Correct, okay.
I would just like to shine in here if I could. There was a letter sent from Southwest Memorial Hospital concerned about a Facebook post that I had about opening businesses. This right here is what I'm talking about. Practicing social distancing and safety for our community, and I would be all for this letter.
Yep. Same here.
I don't.
It's the governor that approves opening back up. Is that correct, Shaq?
So the governor will probably roll out some kind of phased approach, but it's going to be based on the recommendations of CDPHE, and so he may come out with certain businesses opening certain dates and then certain gathering sizes, but the Constitution does guarantee everybody the right to petition their government for redress of grievances. So if yours isn't in the first or second wave to open, but you think you can open under social distancing orders, to me it makes sense to demonstrate your ability to open and see if CDPHE will grant an exemption. Government seems to have an exemption for just about everything.
That is correct.
Now the WWE.
Yeah. Well, I think you have your approval, Shaq, to move forward with it.
Roger that.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then
give some of these businesses a chance to not go broke.
Absolutely. Well, they may already be broken. That brings me to my last item to report on is that the first round of Region 9 applications did come in, and this week nobody has received money yet from the PPP or any of these the other government loans that are coming down. But this week we were able to help 5 businesses with $40,000, and they should have their money by the end of the week.
Good deal. Good deal.
That's from part of the portion that we contributed, Shaq?
Yes.
Good.
Make sure those businesses get your letter.
Roger that.
Anything else, Shaq?
No, that concludes my report. Thank you, commissioners.
All right. Commissioners report. Which one of you would like to start?
I'll start. Mine's very simple. I've stayed home and killed prairie dogs and froze myself in the wind and wore my mask when I went to the supermarket, and that's all I've done.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner.
I haven't even been to the supermarket. I'm fortunate to have plenty at home. I did attend the Southwest TPR meeting on Thursday. the projects that were funded for this year so far are still moving forward. Matt Morrow's comment was, we're conducting business, but it's anything but business as usual at this point in time. They're very concerned with the gas tax. The gas tax is significantly being reduced just due to the reason of people are traveling less, and obviously fuel is decreasing at the same rate also. So the funding that they're going to start getting is going to start. It will affect us. Obviously, our runway is we have a little bit longer because of the funding that we already have in place. So this year is going to be a little bit off, not horrible, but it's coming probably within the next cycle or in the next year's funding is where we're going to start to really see that. But there again, those are projections. We don't know how long this is going to last. They did say that they were going to hand out their NTP for 550-160, which is the notice to proceed for the mass excavation by mid-May over in Durango. That's probably the biggest project in the region. And then the other notice to proceed would follow at different dates as they start ramping it up. They're also trying to do push more funding out for rural fiber due to this COVID-19. CDOT's working on that, and those funds should be stable and approved. Also, I went to Region 9. All of these are virtual Zoom meetings. A disaster for disaster loan approvals, and the banks are having a difficult time because they don't have a lot of their process right now is painful because they just don't have a lot of direction of how to get these things implemented. But that's mostly for the PPP loans, and but they're working on them diligently. The Tri-Chamber newsletters are coming out with all the local regional information on them, and they're working together to put all their skills together to make that work. They did say that at this point in time, the Ride the Rockies is still on and would probably be in our area, Montezuma County, Cortez, on June 15th. If it still goes, right now they only have a 40% sign up compared to normal. And then later in that day, I went to the CCI meeting, which was, gosh, just long listening to all the other counties in the state. Steve, I'm not sure how you say his name here. Odad, is that correct, Commissioner Supla?
From Adams County?
From Adams County, yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys get a chance, you might go by and look at CCI's website and look at his presentation. It was actually pretty good. And then basically the meeting yesterday with our local health department and just staying on top of all of the stuff that's going on here with our public health and Jim Stratton, our emergency manager. And other than that, that will conclude mine.
Commissioner, I see you asked a question on email, but about how many of the positives are now negatives, that the people are better. Did you ask that question yesterday, and was there a response?
I did ask that question. I would like to start putting out some positive information. I did speak with Dr. Aiken. He has sent me an email. I was going to review it. I'll send it on to you guys because I'm kind of like, we're jump starting our businesses and our society around here. This is a double-edged sword we're dealing with, and we're going to deal with, just as it's already been stated, with increased, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, domestic violence. The longer this goes on, the more we're going to have to deal with on the other side of the coin. So as soon as I can review this, it'll be kind of in a a message to all of us so that we can get it out, a news release. But before, we do that, I'd like to read it and then send it to you two for approval. So I have not, I've been responded to, but I haven't read it, so I don't have a response as to what's out there.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Candelaria. I got, last Wednesday, I was gotten hold of an hour before and asked to share the public lands of NACO, which ended up being a very heated debate, and boy, did they throw me into boy, did I learn real quick. So, but there was a very interesting comment, and what the debate was over was, it was over the funds, the offshore funds to purchase up to $1 billion worth of a year of public lands. Commissioner Taylor, you're very familiar with this. You make comments about it all the time.
Yes, I am. The Land and Water Conservation Fund. Yeah.
Yes, sir. The Land and Water Conservation Fund. And so one of the main speakers of the meeting was the chairman of the Western Caucasus District, and he made the comment about, because there was a commissioner that same philosophy as yourself and myself, and that is that we've already got enough public lands, and that money, they can't take care of what they got, and so they probably should transfer that money to fix the backlog instead of purchasing more money or maybe more land.
Amen.
Well, this was what the response was he said that it'll never go away because even your Republicans from back east are in favor of this. And so a commissioner spoke up from Idaho, and he says, well, this is my idea, is that I am all for them using those funds to purchase additional public lands, but it has to be required that it is used from the Mississippi back east.
Amen.
Because I tell you what, it's actually genius. They don't have any public lands there, and so those Republican senators and congressmen that are so willing to buy more public lands when it's in their backyard, they might be singing a different song. So,
I think that was a stroke of genius. That guy, I like the way he put that. Buy all the land you want, but make sure it's east of the Mississippi.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. So I thought you'd get a kick out of that, and that's why I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, I like that.
And then I also, what I did was had a meeting yesterday to have the chairs of Archuleta, San Miguel, Montrose, there was a bunch, Mesa, and it was just it was a phone conference with the commissioners with all the things they're doing, and I brought up one of my main things is I'm very concerned about and I've brought this up several times, but I'm very concerned that here in the very near future that we're going to run out of meat products for our constituents, and I guess for me that would be a priority. Hopefully that won't happen, but if it does, hopefully we'll find ways to mitigate it. And I believe after that I don't have anything else.
Commissioner, you do have a letter that you sent me from the Ute Mountain Ute tribe?
Oh, yes. So I have been in contact, and so commissioners, did you get a chance to read this letter so that we can have a conversation about it?
Yeah, yes, I did, Commissioner Sukla, and I understand Chairman Hart's concern about the sale and the distribution of alcohol and recreational marijuana in this community. I'm however afraid that we have some liquor retail outlets in the county, but we don't have any marijuana retail outlets in the county, and I'm just a little bit reticent to start trying to
dictate to our businesses how they can conduct their business, given nationwide, I think they said the sale of alcohol is up like 50 or 60% since this COVID epidemic and everybody having to stay at home has come to pass. So I don't think that the Ute Mountain Tribe is unique in having more alcohol abuse or use in their community, even though it's illegal. And I understand that it's illegal in there, but I'm reticent to start trying to dictate. I know we can't do anything with anybody within the city limits. I mean, we have no say-so over the businesses operating within the limits of Cortez. We do have some liquor stores that operate out in the county, but I'm afraid of starting to dictate to our businesses, given Chairman Hart's concern for his community.
Commissioner Candelaria, would you like to weigh in?
I will. I also read it. I got it this morning and I read it, and I understand his, this is what I was talking about, that double-edged sword. It's going to cut both ways, and they're obviously seeing it more down there as far as the marijuana and the alcohol. I agree with Commissioner Ertel. Obviously, we don't have any say-so in the city. This could be passed on to the city of Cortez, but I mean, our businesses, whether you like them or you don't like them, it is a free enterprise, and I believe in that, that we can't dictate what would be in our purview, the liquor stores, how they do business. I feel for them, maybe, with their curfews and at their stops, or people coming back into the reservation, that they could actually, talk to them at that point in time. I don't know. I don't have any real good answers for it, but I'm not in favor of trying to dictate what they can and cannot do, 4 hours of operation.
All right. And so I was asked to bring it up in front of you and have a discussion. The way that I look at this is what has changed before the COVID-19 and now with these two businesses. And so I guess the only thing that I could say is there's never been marijuana approved in New Mexico. So nothing has changed there as far as the people coming and buying the marijuana from those states. And then the second thing is I know that the governor did suspend alcohol sales in New Mexico, but you can still buy it at the store, it's my understanding. So I guess in the end, what my take on this is there really hasn't been any drastic changes before COVID-19 and after COVID-19 on this. So I guess I feel the same way. So, do you have anything else, Shaq?
I have nothing else. Unless
Okay,
you want to see
how about,
public comments coming on YouTube. I haven't opened that pop-up.
Did you say no public comment? It's public comment now. It's time. So if anybody would like to make a public comment, please feel free to do so.
I'm going to give that just a few seconds here. I'll open this dialog box. Can you see the dialog box on the screen I'm sharing?
We are, yes.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I can see it now, Shaq.
Okay.
so if anybody there, if you would like to have any public comment, otherwise. I see, Shaq, you must be typing that in.
Yes.
That was actually fairly quick for, you must took the typing.
60 words a minute.
That was very impressive.
Commissioner, if I may, while we're waiting on this, I think that, I'm getting, with these meetings, listening to all of these other people and then reaching out to some of the other county commissioners throughout the state, that by next week, if we could have Shaq and our financial people put together an outlook for 3 months, 6 months, a year, projections for us, I think that would be prudent for us to start really looking at, just to make sure that we don't need to tighten things up as far as expenditures for the remaining of the year and or next year, depending on how this thing progresses. We have, obviously stopped and put some things on hold or postponed them, but I'd like to have a better outlook, at least 3-6 months, up to a year. What do you guys think?
Well, I think it's fine to go ahead and look at all of it. That brings up a point that I would like to bring up, and it has to do with our first report from our emergency manager. And at the top of his report was the possible purchase of a tent in case we had a shortage of care facilities for people that were sick with COVID-19. Do you gentlemen remember that? And in that report,
Yes, I recall that, yeah.
okay, the cost was up to $425,000. And so my concern is this, that we would be willing to buy something that we would only use once and fold up for $400,000, but we wouldn't be willing to spend up to $200,000 on the remodel of the fairgrounds, but actually would be a tent. And I don't know if you guys noticed in the news earlier, they were concerned about their tent hospitals blowing away in New York last week. But I guess my point is that I feel like it would be more prudent to do the upgrade to where you got running water, bathrooms, and kitchen at the fairgrounds, and that would be the tent and not the purchase of a tent. Is there any thoughts?
Yeah, I think that if you look at his report now with Fort Lewis College being, I think they have 80 of Tier 3 and 80 of Tier 4. I don't know if they actually have the approval looking at his report for today, but I don't think that that's necessarily in the pipeline anymore because of what they have approved in Grand Junction and Fort Lewis College on the western side of the state of Colorado. And Jim Spratland, you can correct me if I'm wrong there, but they have 160 beds there. The hospital here has the additional 60 that they have in their EMS quarters, and then they also have the 40 that the bridge is going to occupy till the end of the month. So I don't think the tent is even on the table anymore.
And I think that we would use the indoor arena at the fairgrounds long before we would buy a tent.
So then that brings up the question about when would we move forward to get bids to upgrade the fairgrounds? When do you just think?
I thought we were just postponing that until we saw at the end of April what the governor is going to do, if they're going to lift this, and because we still have, as far as I know, we haven't canceled the Mountain Ute Rodeo or anything like that, correct?
The Mountain Ute Rodeo, well, I have some information about that, but it's not it's not my purview to say. So
okay, so we don't have anything coming up then until which would be September. Our first event out there would be the Ag Show, and then the others to follow that with October. The
fair would be
would precede that in July and August.
So did you say, Commissioner Tell?
Yeah, the county fair would not hold. Their schedule is the end of July into the first part of August. So we do have something coming up that I think that's still tentatively scheduled unless things worsen somehow.
So would it be okay just to put it out for bids to see? I think we allocated up to 200,000, but the bid might come in half that. I don't know. What's your gentleman's thoughts?
Well, when we first talked about it, because of the loss of the manager out there, and I do agree with Commissioner Urtel's statement that until we get a new manager on board, I would really like to see what his thoughts and ideas are, or hers, also before we move forward with it. We still have plenty of time, even if we do have our first event at the end of July.
Okay, and I guess I thought we already had it figured out what we wanted to do, and I think that whoever the new manager is would be relevant to moving forward. I guess the question comes back, and it's a real simple question: is what are the funds for that Montezuma County receives from the taxpayers?
To keep our county moving forward.
Those funds are the funds when somebody pays their taxes is for services.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people expect when they pay their taxes to the county is for services. So what are we doing exactly? What services are we getting them by holding off on doing the fairgrounds?
Well, right now, just holding it, postponing it, is holding on to the additional funds in case we need it for this COVID-19. We never said we were going to cancel it at all. We were just postponing it. And secondly, the fairgrounds is probably our highest subsidized portion of the county that we have. It's highly subsidized. I've been asking questions from Shaq, and I'm trying to get all that information, but I just don't see that right now postponing that does any harm at all.
But you're suggesting that you would be willing to shut the fairgrounds down because of the high subsidy, or what is your suggestion there? Because
right now, to leave it postponed until we find out what this COVID-19 is doing, I think it's fine to leave it idle. Like I said, postpone it. I don't want to say cancel because I hope we can get back to normal relatively quickly, but to hold that money right now, I think is a greater concern in case we need it in a different application.
Would that application not be a service? What would that application be?
It would all be into a service.
Right. This is Commissioner Patel, and I want to come at this maybe a little bit of a different direction. After seeing Lori Johnson's 7 bids on her recording deal and seeing the scale with which that thing went and where she ended up, the great benefit that we're seeing to our E911 fund because of the bids that she did, I would almost be in favor of going ahead and having relief. We know exactly what the plan is. We hired the architect to design what we're going to do out there. And I think that she's done a capable job of that. And I think we know what we're going to do. Why don't we go ahead and put it out to bid? We can accept, refuse, stop, postpone, do whatever. But maybe now would be a good time to put that out to bid, see what the bids come in. We may see a good enough bid or a favorable bid come in so far under the $200,000 that we're forecasting. We may say, we're going to lock you in. Can you make that bid good for 60 days or 45 or 60 days, giving us enough time to see what the COVID-19, how it's going to affect the county financially, which I don't think it's going to. I think our hospital is so well prepared. I think this county is proving that we are social distancing ourselves. We only have 12 confirmed cases at what we're supposed to be at the height of our, right now we were supposed to be in the worst part of our infection rate at this stage of the game right now, and here we have 12 people in the whole county that have been tested and confirmed. I think Montezuma County is going to go through this COVID-19 very well. I think we're doing our work. We're doing what we're supposed to do. I think our healthcare people, I think our EOC, I think our health department is keeping us right on task, and I think we should go ahead and put it out for bid, see what comes back in. We can refuse all bids if we need to. But
You know, I would have to second that. I think a great idea. The thing is, you know, you got a lot of these construction workers, they work together, so as far as social distancing, they're with each other every day. And just because work is so slow, we might get a heck of a deal by putting it out to bid now. And as you suggested, we don't have to accept the bid. But I think that would be a great idea. Yeah.
No, I agree with that. We do not have to accept it. It is ready to go. We would just have to change the dates, obviously, because it was postponed. The dates would just have to move in sequence to that. And I believe John had looked over the contract that went with it. John, if you're still out there, if you can speak to that. But I think everything is 100% ready to go with just the date changes. And I don't have an issue with bidding it. And I think most would keep it open for 45 days.
Yeah. All right, well, let's do it then.
I will move that we take our architect's drawings and our plans for the county fairgrounds remodel and submit them out for bid. Starting what date? Commissioner Candelaria, do you know the dates on that? When starting tomorrow? The next
we could give me the time to get with John just to move all of the dates so that they're in concurrence with starting to move forward. But yeah, we could probably put it out.
And John, correct dates. I'd be submitted for bid as soon as possible.
By the end of the week would be easy to probably have it. I don't know if the journal, but it could be on our website relatively quickly, and I'll get with John just to look at the dates. But within 48 hours or by the end of the week, no problem. Everything else is ready.
Yep.
Do it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So just so you guys know, the journal is publishing tomorrow, and they're going down to once a week publication, so it will not go out in the journal this week.
Okay.
Well, that won't hurt anything. It can still go onto our website, and then it could be published thereafter next week into their site. But that doesn't. I don't think that hurts anything.
So Shaq, is that a temporary move or is that a permanent move, or do you know?
I do not know.
Okay. You know, I'm looking here.
Feeling that will be a permanent.
You have a feeling that'll be a permanent move, Commissioner Ertel?
Yes, I do. I think their circulation, their publication is getting so poorly taken in this county, and I think that'll be a permanent thing.
Wow. So I am looking at the chat, and I did talk to Doc's Marina. He's talking about the cables that were broke. Is there any updates on that, James? Or, well, he's probably not there anymore. Do you have any updates about that? We had talked about advocating to have the marina stay put at the House Creek. Is anybody?
Oh, James. Can you hear me at this point?
Yes, go ahead, James.
Yeah, okay, so we haven't heard anything more about relocating that to House Creek. I think that's something we ought to probably bring up to the Forest Service next week. And so with regards to some of the comments here, yeah, we're aware that the cable's broke, the thing is broken up. It isn't a permanent position. That's one of the problems with it, because the size of it is just not effective when you can't reposition it. You know, all the way around, it seems like it's a pretty cumbersome system to be able to actually manage and be able to keep up on. And so I think that's why we're still advocating for looking at a different system, something that's a little lighter and easy to move around, like that wave eater system.
Mm-hmm. But in the meantime, if could we get with the board, the town board of Dolores, to have a joint letter supporting the marina being in House Creek instead, where that's actually what the original plan was, is to my understanding, instead of where it's been, because we definitely don't have another $285,000 to put in another buoy system at this time. What do you commissioners think?
I think you're gonna have to wait until after their meeting where they get all of their new council people set. Also, I think they have 2 or 3 new people that are coming on board, but I don't think that bringing them into the loop and asking them what their thoughts are to get it moved over to House Creek, it sounded like that would be the best location, and see what their thoughts are at that point in time. But all the councils are gonna be changing this month.
All right, well, I think you make a good point, Commissioner Candelaria, that maybe, James, we could do a letter ourselves, and hopefully, because of the big economic impact that it has on the town of Dolores, as they are established, they could join us at a later date in support of the move. What do you,
That sure
Commissioner?
sounds workable. And I think we can start the conversation with the town of Dolores at any time. You know, we can get the town manager at least up to speed. So we'll just bring them in the loop as we can and start on this process.
That would be great.
I mean, it's pretty clear topographically. House Creek's just a superior location, you know, due to the landform.
Right.
Yes, this Commissioner I think the Forest Service is entirely remiss in not letting Docks Marina consider the House Creek location. That is built for a marina. It is naturally protected. You won't need a breakwater system over at the House Creek location. Fluctuating, he's so used to fluctuating water levels at the marina he's at now, that's not going to be a problem. I just think the Forest Service is completely out of line in not considering that House Creek location. It is the place that marina should be. It will benefit Dolores, the town of Dolores, much more. I cannot believe that they are still arguing that should not be the location for that marina operation. It's absolutely the place it should be. We should quit wasting time and money over there at the McPhee Marina. It's in a horrible location. I went up the other day to the lookout. That wave break system is broken up into 3 chunks. It's useless. It's absolutely useless now. And we spent all that money, and now we have a useless breakwater out there. And I think it's time to tell the Forest Service, look, if you want to have a marina on that lake, that's where it's going to be.
I concur with Commissioner Ertel. It's just common sense, and otherwise they're going to lose the marina, and we're not going to get another one.
I'm trying to
exactly right. They've already gone through.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, it doesn't mean that main launch ramp can't still be functional either. So I mean, maybe we just need to look at the whole thing a little differently.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you move forward with that, James, we'd appreciate it.
You bet. I sure will.
Is there anything else?
And James?
Yes.
No, never mind. I'll talk later.
Okay. Commissioners, anything else for the good of the order before? Well, we'd entertain a motion then.
I have nothing else either, so I would move that we adjourn.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Everybody have a great day. We appreciate it.
Stay safe. Stay safe, everybody.
Agree.